Hey, Survival Litters. Welcome to week number 4 of distance learning and chapter 9 of Buried in the Sky. All right, here we go. In first thing I want to point out to you over here on the updates, if you click on the updates tab on your iPad, you're going to have 4 poll questions. One's going to ask you if you would like to meet once a week face to face. Another one's going to ask you about rate the workload that you're getting, how much time you're spending, and just kind of rate rate your your experience to distance learning. And so it's just a way for me to get some information and see how you guys are doing, if there's anything that I need to adjust and whatnot. Which kind of brings me to another point, is if some of you are struggling. Some of you are really struggling to get things in. And I just want to let you know that if you are struggling, please communicate with me. Send me an email. Let me know what's going on. If you need more time, whatever the case is, I will take any assignment anytime. If you want to retake any of the quizzes, you can retake any of the quizzes. All the quizzes are open book. Use the book on the quizzes to find the answers. Let's see, what else? I'm really looking for just engagement. Turn things in. Get things into me. Okay? So again, I'm looking at a combination of things. I'm looking at this analytics page, and this tells me when the last time you accessed course material. I'm looking over here. The last time you came into my class, and accessed material. Then I go over to this sheet, and I also see, have you been turning things in? If you've got stuff turned in, I'm looking on a daily basis. E for engagement and NE for not engaged. Okay? So you want E's. You want to see a string of E's. If I have 2 to 3 not engagements in a row, well, then that's going to generate a phone call from me, or your name gets sent down to the office, down to truancy, and administration then has to step in. So then also, I'm looking at, are you turning in assignments? If I see a string of assignments missing, that also triggers non-engagement. And so then I have to, again, email you, remind you, phone call home, talk to mom and dad, or just send your name down to administration or truancy. You guys have to be engaged. It's just, you don't have a choice. This is still school. I know it's distance learning and you may hate it. It's the situation that we're in, right? It's just, we can't do anything about it. Try to make the best of it. With that being said, if you just show me some effort, if you just try, I'm going to give you points, okay? If at any time I look at an assignment or one of the reading checks and you've bombed it, that's okay. I'm going to bump your grade up. On reading checks, no one will score lower than an 8 out of 15. Now, is it passing? No. But does it bury you in a hole? No, it doesn't. Okay, so you're going to score at least an 8 on reading checks, as long as you try. That's all I'm asking. That's all I want from you, is for you to try. Okay, and like I said, I will take any assignment anytime. I don't care how late it is. I will take it. Okay? Just get it into me. Just be engaged. All right? Okay, moving forward, let's take a look at the class calendar for this chapter. So we're in chapter 9 of Buried in the Sky. We're starting that here today. It is April 22nd. We're right here. And let me blow that up a little bit. Okay. So you have chapter 9, you have the text and guided reading questions assignment, and you have the reading check. That's it. Chapter, questions, reading check. You have until Monday, April 27th. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. 6 days to get chapter 9 read and the assignments turned in. I think that's more than fair, and I think that's more than enough time. Okay? So, let's get down into the assignment folder. Let's go over a few things, and then we're going to open up and go over some of the notes for that chapter. So once again, oops, wrong one. Let's get into chapter 9. Okay, so again, you're going to have to watch the video. You're going to watch the video first to access. Once you do that, you access the assignments. Now again, a few of you did this. Not many of you, but a few of you did both of these text and guided reading assignments. You don't have to. Just pick one or the other. This one here is you have the PDF and the questions in there. Okay, so this is more of the manual. You're reading it on your own, you're answering the questions, and then you're submitting them into the assignment. This one down here is the Ed puzzle. You click on it, you play the video, and you answer the questions as you watch the video, and you're done. Okay, just pick one or the other, not both. One or the other, not both. Okay? And then you have the reading check. All of that is due on April 27th. Okay, so let's get on over to the notes. All right, here's the notes for Chapter 9. Let's get into that. Now, where we left off with Chapter 8 is the climbers are moving on up they're moving on up to make their summit push. Okay, and where we left off, it talked about, the chapter was titled Ghost Winds, and the climbers were dealing with some bad winds. Shaheen, who was in charge of coordinating all the lead climbers and Sherpas, got almost died because of this violent illness that he got, and the deer came up and rescued him and brought him back down the mountain. There were some issues that Wilco and Joselito had, and things like that, but we're getting ready to now attack and go after the summit. And that's what Chapter 9 is called. This one is titled Through the Bottleneck. All right, so Section 1, right, we start off with there's 30 climbers who are going to make a push to the summit. Now, instead of going in 2 waves, they've decided to all go in 1 because the August 1st weather window is so good, they don't want to miss it. Okay? Now, they have lots of crucial gear that's missing. Okay, the rope is probably the biggest thing. They're missing rope. Okay, and then there's no Shaheen. This is a huge problem because Shaheen was the guy, the go-between who could communicate with everybody. He's not there. And he had Alberto Zarain from Spain take over, and nobody knows this guy. Nobody trusts this guy. And it really kind of boiled down to Pakistanis versus Nepalis. Okay, high-altitude porters versus Sherpas. All right, so we have some big problems, and so this lack of this language barrier and this distrust and resentment towards each other, it led to flawed decision making. It says that right in the book, and that's actually one of your, I think it's on the reading check, but it's flawed decision making. Guys started making bad decisions, and on K2 you can't do that. Section 2 talks about as the climbers are going up through the bottleneck, and it talks a lot about the bottleneck and what that's like. There's these things called seracs, and these are huge hunks of ice, like massive hunks of ice, and they're actually hanging over the bottleneck. So as the climbers are going up, they have these huge hunks of ice hanging over them. The sun's beating down on them, warming them up, softening them up, and as you can imagine, this is foreshadowing, these hunks of ice could break away and cause all kinds of problems. The bottleneck is considered the toughest and most dangerous part of the climb, but that's not even, it doesn't get easy after that, because then they get to this traverse, which is basically a straight up and down section that they have to climb. Fixed ropes, you're going to hear a lot about this. Fixed ropes, having ropes that you can clip onto, and they're fixed and they hold you up. This is going to become a huge part of the survival and the issues that happen. All right, now on page 147, there's this nice map, okay? And it shows different points, okay? So this is, let's go. All right, so here's Camp 4. This is where they're camping and they're going to make their summit push, okay? So right here, climbers run out of rope in the bottleneck. A bad spot to run out of rope. All right, there's a traffic jam. There's a whole bunch of climbers just stuck in the bottleneck, and it's taking forever, right? Dren, we'll get to that in a second here, but Dren here, he falls and dies. Jihan falls while trying to recover Dren's body. We're going to talk about that here in just a minute, right there. And then, of course, here is the summit. The last climbers leave the summit around 8 p.m. We'll get to that. Here's those seracs, these huge chunks of ice hanging over the bottleneck. If they break off, boom, that's all kinds of problems. Up here is this snow dome. You're going to hear more about that. Here's the traverse, another really tough technical part of the climb. All right. Section 3 talks about the lead climbers. Alberto is there, and cheering are there. They're resetting rope. This is a very time-consuming thing. There's lots of waiting. Like I said, there's a traffic jam going on in the bottleneck, a bad spot to have a traffic jam. Eric Meyer, the American that cheering was climbing with, he turns back. He's like, he realizes that I'm not going to get to the summit in a safe time period. Remember, the turnaround time is between 2 and 3. All right. So, and then in this section, this is where Dren Mandic, he's a Serbian, he falls and he ends up dying. This is the first death of this tragedy. Section 4 deals with Frederick Strang. He's another guy. I believe he was with the Norit team. He decided he also was not going to make a summit push because they were so far behind. So he's down at Camp 4 and he's like, I'm going to go up and we're going to get Dren's body. So he and 3 other climbers, they're trying to bring Dren's body down. Now, let's say the guy weighs 180 pounds. That's a lot of weight to try to bring down a mountain. This is very dangerous things. And this guy, Jihan, he loses control and there's ropes and he ends up letting go of the ropes and he falls to his death. That's the second death of the tragedy. Section 5 starts at about 2:21 p.m. Remember, the turnaround time is between 2 and 3 p.m. No one has summited yet. Okay, all the climbers, they forget about the deaths. They forget about the people that fell. They are going to the summit. So they ignore the turnaround time. At this point, cheering makes an offering to the mountain goddess, and it's rejected. All right, that doesn't sound good. Section 6, the flying jump climbers, the Koreans, they get through the bottleneck around 2 p.m. Again, they are way behind. They're way behind, but they're going for the summit. Pasang, that's spelled wrong, but Pasang falls into a crevasse, but he's able to get out. Alberto is the first to make the summit. Alberto Zerain from Spain is the first to get to the summit on K2. He did everything right. He is descending now. It's about 3 p.m. and he's already coming down the mountain. And Pasang is blown away by this guy. He's like, oh my God, this guy's unbelievable. This guy's a stud, right? All right. Section 7 is the last section of the book, and this deals with all the climbers making it to the summit. So Pasang summits at 5:30 p.m. Cheering is about an hour behind at 6:37 p.m. Most of the climbers, I want to say there's like 18 or 19 people, roughly something like that, that get to the summit. And it talks about them, their sponsorships and all this stuff in this section. But then it starts talking about the climbers start descending at 7:45 p.m. Way beyond that 2 to 3 p.m. turnaround time. They ignored it, but they're climbing down at night. And here's the thing: descending is always where deaths and accidents happen. Okay, the descent is always tougher, and now it's at night, and we know that those seracs are a problem. They've been baking in the sun, right? So that's going to be a big problem. Everybody still expects these fixed ropes to be there. Foreshadowing. And from here on out, so this is chapter 9. So chapters 10, 11, 12, all these chapters are going to chronicle the survival. This is where survival comes in. This is where our survival elements come in. All right, so that's chapter 9 in a nutshell. All right, so again, chapter 9 stuff is due on the 27th. Now, I want to say this chapter is about 20 pages. I believe the video is about 35 minutes or so long. I think 4 days, again, to read the chapter and do the 2 assignments. It's 10 multiple choice questions. Okay, the text and guided reading. It's read the chapter, do the 10 multiple choice questions, and then the reading check. I think 4 days, that's 20 minutes if you spend 20 to 25 minutes a day doing just this English. Let's say it's 80, that's what, 80 minutes? Okay, an hour and 20 minutes to complete this, I think is more than enough time. And you have to gauge that. Okay, if you need to take the weekend, you need to do a little bit over the weekend. You have to gauge that. So anyway, so that's chapter 9. Again, if you guys have questions, if you have concerns, if you're having any issues, please talk to me. Let me know what's going on, and I will help you in any way that I can. And most of all, everybody, remember, take care of yourself, take care of your family, take care of your friends. We'll talk to you later. Bye.